These theories will make you question everything. And remember, this is for entertainment purposes only. Just check them out.
If you have or have not heard, the homelessness in San Francisco was cleaned up overnight, and it has spawned quite a bit of conspiracy theories. Conspiracy theories, of course, flew out of the woodwork with this one, everything from alien abduction all the way to having every single homeless person transported to Arizona on a body farm. If you don't know what a body farm is, it's some place where they take dead bodies to study how they decompose in different natural environments or unnatural environments. I'm not saying that's where they are, I'm just saying that's part of the conspiracy theory. Question remains, where the hell did all these homeless people go? Because they just kind of disappeared. First of all, San Francisco hosted the APEC summit, which is a meeting between Joe Biden, or the president of the United States, and the president of China, Xi Jinping. San Francisco's homeless problem was pretty bad. So what they did was they cleaned it up before the summit took place so that the president of China would not see all the homelessness. That's not what they said. That's what I'm going with because it's true. A lot of people operate under this. They were there one day and the next day they were all gone. That is somewhat true. According to the San Francisco Standard, which is a newspaper, I'm assuming, in San Francisco, it says the San Francisco Police Department has authorized its officers to enforce anti-camping laws against people who have reasonable access to shelter or housing. Let me break that down to what that actually means. It is an anti-homeless bill, or whatever this is called, and it's basically giving the police the power to arrest people that don't want to go into shelters. Now, this wasn't enacted like the day before the summit. It was posted to a police bulletin on October 18th, which gave them ample amount of time to clear out the homeless encampments around the summit area, because such a large and important event, they would want to clear that area first, right? To sum up all that whole thing, it's basically if the homeless person gets offered shelter or other accommodations and they don't accept it, they get arrested and thrown into jail. A lot of people are freaking out because there's no like videos of people being like pushed out of the way or anything like that. It's because it happened over time. It wasn't just like a one night or 1 week thing. It was more like a 1 month or 2 week thing. You know, it happened over time. This isn't even an isolated incident. This happens all the time. For example, the best example that I can think of was in Portland, Oregon. In Portland, in the city center, there is a farmer's market that happens every week. Every other day except for that day that the farmer's market is there, it is littered with homeless people. And the day before, the Portland police go in and they clear out the area, have the little farmer's market, and then when the farmer's market leaves, the homeless people just come back. And again, I watched a documentary on that. I'm not from Portland, so that could be completely false. If you're from Portland, please let me know. And again, according to multiple sources across the web, the San Francisco's homelessness rate has been getting a lot better in the last couple of years. And that could be a contributing factor, is just that it's been emptying out by itself. And then all of a sudden the police just came by and just swept up the crumbs. But back to the original conspiracy theory of how all the homelessness disappeared overnight. It wasn't overnight. It was over a period of time. The second part of that is where did they go? Where's the new 10 cities? They didn't relocate. They just disappeared. They didn't disappear. They got other accommodations or they got sent to jail. If you guys have any other conspiracy theories you want me to look into, please let me know. I love doing this.
I was about to say, in the beginning, I was like, okay. And then he said that. And then later on, he said it didn't happen overnight. So I was like, all right, he contradicting himself, but let me let it play on. But listen, I hope nothing happened to them. Now, we did do a video on some of the homeless situations out there. And a lot of the businesses were complaining about the break-in, saying their businesses were getting broke into all the time. It was showing video and different things, and the business owners were threatening to leave. They was like, at this point, it's costing them entirely too much money. Nobody's doing anything about it. So it was that going on. But at the same time, I didn't want to see anything. Now, the ones that were being criminals, cool. Yeah, arrest them for breaking into the businesses. But the ones that are out there, because always remember, man, some homeless people are veterans, bro. Our veterans. You know what I mean? And that's a problem. You know, so trying to get them some type of help or assistance should be the way to go, not just locking them up. Now, the ones who commit crimes, cool, but the ones that are just out there trying to get them some help and assistance should be the way to go, in my opinion.
So I've been seeing a lot about this recently, and it's hard to verify the claims. This is how we get information out nowadays. This is how we're able to find the truth, is by connecting and talking about it and getting together with our communities and sharing personal experiences and things that we've seen and things that we've heard. So me personally, I have seen a lot. Supposedly, the theory is that all of these homeless individuals are being helped. They round them up in these big white vans and they drive them somewhere.
Where?
Promising that they'll have shelter and food and that they're going to get help. They're going to get, in a program. If they need to be in a program, they'll get temporary job assistance if they need it. And that's how they get all of these people to get in the vans. After they're in the vans, theory is that they're decommissioned, but of course that is hard to verify with everything that's going on. So again, this is where we share information. This is how we're able to find the truth. If there's anything that you've seen, anything that you've heard.
Yeah, I want to know, like, what's going on? Like, you rounding them up in a van, where are you taking them? You know what I mean? Is it to the jails? Is it blocks away from where they're currently located? You giving them a better place, maybe to a shelter or something like that? Where are they going? Where are they going? They have probably no family or anyone to care about them or see about them or, you know what I mean, inquire about their whereabouts. So what's happening here?
Have you heard the mystery of the missing homeless people of San Francisco? According to legend, entire populations of homeless people have gone completely missing, seemingly overnight.
Well, for my own safety, I kind of wanted to stay off this topic. Something told me to stay out of the missions, or the shelters. Something told me just don't do that. There's a woman that I frequently barter with. They made her move around the corner, just directly around the corner, and which was kind of odd. And I told her I'd see her again soon, and I went by the very next day, and they were gone. The tent, all of the bicycle parts, everything they had out there were all gone. None of it was there. Like, they were never there.
For a bit of a backstory, San Francisco has stated that they were cleaning up their streets ahead of APEC, which is a political summit for different leaders within the world. The question that has a lot of people worried, and what has sparked this conspiracy theory, is how did they do it, and where did they go? According to the San Francisco Standard, they simply moved the homeless to other parts of the city, cleared the tent cities, and trash off the street. As you can tell from the two pictures below, there's a stark difference in the way that the city looked before and after the cleanup. Conspiracies really took off on Twitter when users asked why there was no footage of the cleanup in action. This led to comments stating they had family members that had gone missing that very same evening, and other comments claiming more ominous theories of white vans and etc. People quickly started speaking on TikTok, claiming to have similar experiences. So, with all that's going on in the world, do you think that this is just one big conspiracy? Where did the homeless go? Or are they just in a different part of the city? Oh, and one more question. If it was that easy to get rid of the homeless population, why did it take a visit from the president of China to make that happen? Let me know in the comments below. Stitch a duet. I want to hear from you.
I know
That was,
folks say, oh, they're just cleaning up this place because all those fancy leaders are coming into town. That's true, because it's true.
Have you
wow. I guess you could say he's honest. However, he puts it out there. He don't care how people take it and receive it. Wow. I didn't expect to see that. I was just about to end the video, man. But that's interesting, though. It takes something to happen for you to address the issues that the homeless people have, as well as the business owners. You only do it when you need to. Otherwise, it's pretty much you don't care. Interesting. And apparently I didn't know we would come across this many videos on this situation. This is insane. A lot of people are concerned.
Alexa, where did they put all the homeless people that were removed from San Francisco?
I don't know that one.
And nobody else does either. Alexa.
I see what you did there. That's crazy. That's crazy. I see what you did there, lady. Pretty clever.
A few days ago, I posted a video about how the streets of San Francisco were cleared just a few days before the World Leaders Conference in San Francisco. I didn't really think much about the homeless population and where they could have gone, because living just outside of the city of Chicago, I do understand that encampments are destroyed pretty much on a daily basis. Most of the time, the homeless population just moves to another neighborhood, which is kind of what I figured happened in San Francisco. However, a lot of people are saying that they haven't been in contact with their family and friends who live out there by choice. They don't know where they went, what happened to them, where they're staying now, and they don't understand why they can't get a hold of them. I wanted to wait a little bit to allow more information to come in before I made another video about it. The longer I wait, the weirder things get. People in the area are saying that they saw a large amount of white vans coming into the city, rounding up the homeless population and leaving with them. If you have any information on that, please let me know. Some people are saying that they've been bused to Arizona, and I have a video to show you from there. Before I play the video, I do have to let you guys know that this is for entertainment purposes only. So here it is.
Described as unsettling, but it sounds a whole lot worse. worse. One FBI agent revealing what it was really like inside the Phoenix body donation facility. In 2014, he saw everything from buckets of heads, arms, and legs to coolers filled with severed penises when the FBI raided the building.
Confused and angry. We thought this was going to be doing some good.
He even spotted a smaller head sewn onto a larger torso in a, quote, Frankenstein manner.
It wasn't a choice we made. It wasn't a choice any of the families made.
I do hope and pray that the population out there is okay. They did just transfer neighborhoods. Maybe a lot of their phones got lost as their encampments were destroyed, and that's why they haven't been able to contact family and friends. But if you have any information about this or any thoughts at all, please let me know down below. A few days ago,
Yeah, there should be more footage. You know what I mean? It should be required that when such an operation like that takes place, that it should be recorded. Media should be there, news outlets, different things like that. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people are genuinely concerned. Some people aren't concerned. They're just doing this just to do it. But a lot of people are genuinely concerned. And where's the footage? You're not seeing any footage of the white vans picking them up, taking them somewhere, transporting them, or knowing where they were relocated to. This is sad. This is crazy to even think of, man. Somebody needs to produce some information for the people.
All right, Missouri passed this law a month or two ago, July or June 1st, one of the two. It's called the Expanded Act, and basically it's against the law to be homeless. So it's like, if you get caught sleeping at a park on any government property, local property or something like that, then you can be fined or jailed from 1 to 6 years in prison, and you will be charged with a felony. It's crazy out here in Chicago, letting people off until they proven innocent or guilty, some shit like that. But it's real out here. We're really living in a lot of days. It's like the different states we're living in is like their own country in a way. Yeah, in the bill, it was passed without the governor's signature, so it was just like, we're going to make this bill up and we're going to put it through. We don't need nobody to sign it, nothing like that. We tired of these homeless people. But anybody can be homeless at any time, so it's kind of crazy.
Homeless can now face a felony charge for bunking down in a park. The expanded law includes any property owned by local governments. It makes the crime punishable by up to 1 to 6 years in prison and a fine of up to $3,000. The bill became law without the signature of Governor Bill Lee. It's already illegal to sleep or camp on state-owned property. The governor said today he hopes the bill will keep parks for their intended use.
I was concerned and am concerned about the unintended consequences, so I let the bill go into law, and we will follow up and work with the sponsors to understand the implications and see if there are adjustments that need to be made.
Again, lawbreakers risk time behind bars, fines, and the loss of their voting rights. That law takes effect July 1st.
Now, this is pretty interesting. This is really crazy. I get that you don't want homeless people just all over your parks and having them at the parks. Okay, get a designated area for them to go. All right, get a designated area. Again, a lot of these homeless people are veterans. They're veterans, man. Like, that's the crazy part to me, that it just seems to get lost in translation sometimes, that some of these people are veterans. You know what I mean? That sucks, to be honest, bro. And then you start to sit, and the more I think about it, I'm like, okay, so why is it that you want them to go to jail for 1 to 6 years? Is this a way to make money? Is this a come up for the prison system? What are you trying to say here? Like, this is crazy. I don't understand that, man. This is beyond belief.
This video is in reference to the video that I made where I said, if you're a targeted individual, you're fully protected. You have a place to stay, you have food to eat. I responded to this person in the comment section and I said, the reason this happens to you is because you provoked, you lashed out. It's not my fault you're not pure. And for saying it's not my fault you're not pure, I apologize, because if you truly are a targeted individual, it was wrong for me to say because you go through a lot. Now, you're saying that people are homeless, or like a lot of targeted individuals say they got beat up. they're homeless and this, that, and the third. The reason that happens is because these individuals, if you see that video, I told you, they follow you around, but they can't do anything to you. They do these things, follow you around and have you living in fear and depressed so that you can lash out and now you owe karmic debt. Now, a targeted individual, a gang stalker, could also be a handler, which is a family member that you're not aware of that is. And you could have had a fight with this person, broke something of theirs, probably just threw something at them or whatever the case may be, and now you owe karmic debt because they provoked you. That's the only way they can get you. They cannot hurt you because if they do anything to a chosen one / targeted individual, they have to go through the worst karma. That's why you're fully protected. Why do you think that in the elites, the Illuminati, they need to tell us what they're gonna do in movies or in shows or in TV programs like The Simpsons? They need to show us what they're gonna do. Why? To avoid karmic debt. To avoid karma. They need to show us what they're gonna do because karma is very real. So they do these things, they show us these things so that they can avoid karma. Everybody has to go through karma in this matrix because karma is a rule implemented in this matrix before it was created. And they can't just go around hurting you. And if you say stuff like, well, that's not true. What about the celebrities they killed that spoke out, like the Michael Jacksons, the Tupacs, the John Lennons, whatever? No, those celebrities sold their souls because you don't get that type of fame without selling your soul. Those celebrities sold their souls, went to ritual parties, and that put them in karmic debt. And once they sold their souls and signed their name in blood, they removed the protection of the Most High Council. You now belong to the underworld, and you cannot speak out against your owners now because they own you now. Now you, a targeted individual, a chosen one, you haven't sold out. You will never sell out. You haven't sold out. That's why it's harder for you to reach the top because it's not given to you. You have to earn it because you have a different path. And while you're creating this path, which is what you came here to do, they cannot touch you or hurt you because they will go through worse karma. Now, what they can do is provoke you to make you lash out, and then you do something because you reacted to it, you retaliated, and now you owe karmic debt, and now they can do something to you because it's written in the law of this matrix. This video is in reference to...
I never really heard it broken down like that. Not to say that I believe everything, but he made some good points for his theories and great explanation of his theories. That's pretty interesting. I never heard it put that way, karmic debt, and explained and broke down like that as to why. Now, when it comes to karma, I do believe in karma, man. That's why I don't, you know what I mean? I don't try to play around with it because I don't want it coming back on me. I don't want it coming back on me, man. So I try to do right by people. That way I can lay down and sleep at night and I ain't looking over my shoulder for karma. Period.
Talk about this report that just came out for the biochemical lab they found in California last year.
Ooh, you gotta look into Project Homeless 2025. That's something I didn't think I'd end up needing to see today. But, I did. Also, I just realized I can do this. Unprompted. And I have no business abusing the out of it. But I am. Total ADHD movement, but I digress. Yeah, no, there's a bunch of homeless people disappearing off the streets of major metro cities, especially some that are deemed being near black zones, which are government-controlled and privately owned abandoned sites. You know, somebody I just came across here, I wish I remembered her account, I just said to her, she said, when you look at these sites, look at what direction the barbed wire is facing, and look at how close they are to these labs. They are actively trying to kill us. They want a huge homeless population to do this too. Our country's doomed, man.
That's scary when you hear somebody say that these places could be next to laboratories and different things like that, and then you hear people say they're gone missing and everybody starts to panic. That's scary, man, knowing the history of things and things that have happened. Remember MK Ultra and stuff like that? So when you hear a group of people have gone missing, you're starting to think like, okay, what are they doing? What's happened to them? Who are they with? Hopefully they're not being experimented on or anything like that. This is what makes this scary and has everyone in an uproar and concerned.
I guarantee you there's been someone somewhere in the world who paid someone to hunt a person. I guarantee you that's happened.
No, this is what happened. They take these homeless people off the streets, put them in there, take them to one of these special hospitals. They take them from that hospital, may have them drugged up, take them on these large estates of property. That's hunt. Run.
I guarantee you there's been...
That's scary. That's scary, man. It was a movie back in the day. I can't think of the name of it. Was it Hard Target with Jean-Claude Van Damme? It's one of those movies, man. I gotta look it up. I hadn't seen it in so long. It was like back in the day. But it was like that, man. People were like hunting people who were like homeless. They were giving them this belt that had a ton of money or something like that, and they just had to get to this end point with it. And these people were hunting them. And it was crazy to me, man. And then you hear stories like this, and you see more movies come out, and you start to somewhat believe that this could be taking place. That's scary. That's beyond scary.
Across the U.S., cities are bearing the brunt of homelessness. New York and Los Angeles account for about 40% of the unhoused population in the country. The growing problem is fueled by a combined lack of affordable housing and issues worsened by poverty like mental health and addiction. Those cities are trying to find lasting remedies. Well, in California, which is leading the nation in the crisis and prepping for the spotlight ahead of the 2028 Olympics, the mayor of Los Angeles has her own way.
Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass ran and won last year's election largely on a single campaign promise:
We are going to solve homelessness.
to house about a third of our city's 46,000 homeless by year's end.
What I did on day one of my administration was put the city in a state of emergency.
That kicked off her housing relief program, Inside Safe. This week, the city reported the initiative brought nearly 2,000 people off the street. That, combined with other homeless relief programs, got nearly 22,000 Angelenos into temporary housing. That's 5,000 more than last year, with an eye towards major upcoming events in the city.
I am hoping that all of the energy around the World Cup and the Olympics will bring the city together in a way that says we can't have the world come here and see 46,000 people sleeping on the street.
We spoke to Bass in September.
We have dispelled the myth that people who are on the street will not leave the street. And so we have not had a problem of people accepting housing.
Getting people into temporary housing is one thing, keeping them housed another. As of November and $67 million in, only 3,500 of the unhoused have found permanent places to live. The problem? There just isn't enough affordable housing stock, making it nearly impossible to find placements for those running out of time in temporary units.
How do you increase the stock available?
Well, we have to build it. But my point is that I don't want people waiting on the streets in tents while we're building. That's why we're getting them off the street, providing motel rooms for them, while at the same time we are expediting building.
Mayor Bass issued an executive order on
So we just need to follow up and see, are they in temporary housing? Where's the temporary housing at? All of that should be public record. You know what I mean? It should know people are concerned, so they should be able to quickly get answers for that. That reassures them that nothing is being done with these people.
November 1st, allowing Inside Safe to use vacant residential hotel rooms, many of which are permanent housing for low-income residents, as interim housing, which some say solves one problem and creates another.
The idea of removing the already too few permanent units we have, I think is the wrong policy at this time.
Barbara J. Schultz is Director of Housing and Justice at Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles.
According to the city's own housing elements, we need 456,000 more housing units to meet the need in the city of Los Angeles.
Wow.
And 185,000 of those are needed for low-income Angelenos.
There's also the challenge of matching funding sources to specific communities, like the one at Summit View Apartments, which serves only homeless veterans.
After I got out the Army, I was suffering from clinical depression.
When 26-year-old Gene Casimir left the Army, he moved to Los Angeles but couldn't find work. Here, he was able to get the mental health and employment services to get back on his feet.
I say this is the best place I've ever found.
Where were you before?
Well, before I was living in a shelter for a year.
We want to be sure nothing triggers falling back into homelessness.
Stephanie Klasky Gamer is president and CEO of the nonprofit LA Family Housing.
Telling you, man, I kept saying, bro, and a lot of people don't know that it be veterans, man. That stuff break your heart right there to hear that and see that, man. Imagine the things he probably saw or dealt with when he was in the service and come back, man. And it's like, okay, you need to get a job and figure it out on your own. Like, bro ain't even had a chance to process everything that he went through.
Which developed Summit View.
In order to realize a vision of providing more supportive housing for people in need, there's a little bit of the city, the county, the state, federal government, and private investors to make this happen.
That complexity is part of the problem, especially in the midst of a post-COVID economy with high inflation where housing the poor isn't profitable.
Until we...
Yeah, it's like everything is just like stacked against them. We already dealing with high inflation and everything with the economy and stuff like that. This as well, which this ain't just appeared. So we could have been tackled this issue. You know what I mean? It's just now that they decided to do something in these times. So it makes it that much more tough to get funded and everything to do this type of stuff, man. It's like, bro, it's like, who's in charge?
Spend the money directly on housing. We're not going to have an impact on homelessness.
I don't believe that we have done all we should have done as a nation.
Secretary Marcia Fudge at the Department of Housing and Urban Development is trying to streamline that process.
The Biden administration has put a pretty lofty goal on the table to reduce homelessness by 25% by 2025. Is that too aggressive?
I think it's ambitious. I don't think it's impossible.
To aid the effort, Secretary Fudge raised the value of housing vouchers and released $50 million to support homeless youth.
We are doing all we know how to do because we understand that young people in particular, if they don't start to look at home ownership as an option, they may never be put in a situation to start to build the kind of generational wealth that our parents built.
But those measures may only fulfill their potential with more...
Yeah, but look what deters them. What's the interest rate right now? What, 8? 7, 8, or 9 or something like that? Imagine trying to get a $200,000 or $350,000 home or whatever it is. That would deter you with those type of interest rates.
Permanent housing.
We cut down the time it takes to build. So for example, what used to take months in terms of permits now takes 37 days. If you are coming to Los Angeles to build 100% affordable housing, you essentially break through a lot of the barriers and we expedite your building.
She's additionally sponsored 2 more bills in the state assembly to do that.
Beginning in January, it will allow us to use a lot of city property. So we have city, state, county, federal property that is either vacant or is available for us to use. So we don't even have to be involved in purchasing property. It's to expedite the building on public lands.
Which is critical to organizations like LA Family Housing.
This site itself was formerly owned by the city of Los Angeles. They made surplus properties owned by the city of LA available to developers.
And also ensuring an equitable housing landscape.
If we just continue to only build in places where low-income housing has always been, we end up segregating poverty and segregating people in a way that is really contrary to the fair housing law.
People are legitimately frustrated in this city.
Voters were frustrated, angry, and demoralized because voters have voted on 3 occasions to raise their own taxes. And every time they voted to raise their taxes, the problem got worse because even though the city was building as fast as they could, the city was becoming more and more expensive. So it's critical that I take and my administration takes a comprehensive approach.
Thank you.
The clock is ticking for the mayor who promised to curb a crisis not just faced by the City of Angels, but one that plagues the nation.
And red tape, huge hurdle here. The mayor is also concerned that the end of COVID protections are going to exacerbate the problem. She says 30 to 40,000 people are now facing eviction.
Saying you're going to solve homelessness
That's huge.
is a pretty bold prediction.
That is very bold. Yeah. Listen, it's a homeboy of mine, and he was just having a long, because he does evictions, and he was just having a long conversation with me about that, bro. And you'd be surprised on how many convictions just take place in a county, bro. In a county. You're talking about thousands. And he was saying the same thing, man. Everything that happened with COVID, man, it's so many people facing eviction. It's insane. Listen, man, this is a problem, man. Y'all get at me in the comment section and let me know what you thought about this video, man. The fight against homelessness continues. Leave a like, share the video, subscribe, and stick around and stay tuned. Till next one, I'm gone.